So I mean, if Kyler gets 230, what does Lamar get?
Uh, well, let me ask you this before I answer that. Why do you feel, as a Ravens fan, that the Ravens are playing around with this and reluctant to pay him?
I don't think the Ravens are playing around with it. Lamar is playing around with it. Not to say that he's playing around with it, but he's betting on himself.
Bet on himself.
Essentially, you know, same thing that happened when we had Joe Flacco. They in at the end of Joe Flacco's fourth season, I want to say the Ravens offered him like 70 or 80 million.
Hmm.
Flacco was like, I feel like I'm worth more. I feel like I'm worth more. So he goes out that last season. Ultimately, we win a Super Bowl. Ravens end up giving him like 50 million more.
He won the damn Super Bowl.
And he won the so in essence, that money we gave him, we was just paying for that Super Bowl we won, essentially. But Lamar is kind of similarly doing the same thing. The only thing
He thinks he
is,
can get a bigger pay. I mean, he's immediately. I mean, shit. I think Lamar's the better player.
but
I mean, personally, I'm just outside
absolutely.
looking in.
But does Lamar become the highest paid QB in the league?
I mean, part of me thinks it doesn't have to.
Considering
Part
the
of me
money
doesn't
that's
say
been
it
given
has.
to Deshaun Watson, and also considering the money that's been given to Kyler Murray.
So with that being said, why isn't this already done with the Ravens? Why isn't he already the highest paid quarterback in the NFL when some will argue statistically he's the best?
Like I said, I think Lamar,
overall, like
I don't think
he brings back the Vic mold. The Mick,
statistically, Lamar is not the best.
But I'm throwing in running yards or running. He's the dual threat. The dual threat. He's the best of the dual threat.
He is the greatest dual threat.
That's what I mean. He's not again. He's not your.
Lamar is the greatest dual threat.
He's not your Peyton Manning of old, pocket all the time. This and that. Again, that's what I mean. Dual threat. So to me, I look at that's just a whole nother dynamic that half the quarterbacks just don't have. And that gives them an advantage, and
I feel like Lamar has no agent.
That's what
he's his own agent, so he's negotiating these deals.
I don't think that's a questionable call. I don't know.
He's saving a lot of money.
You gotta play. You gotta play football. You gotta play football. You know what I mean?
Yes, you gotta play football for sure.
Study them plays, and that's a lot of time as is.
Lamar has no agent. That's the first thing.
That's I don't know. Somebody got to talk to him about that.
And then at the same time, and in any negotiation, they're gonna bring up like the negative stuff.
Of course, no. Stuff. I mean, it's your job. Your job is to get the highest you can, and their job is to bring it down and disqualify. Yeah, I mean, he needs more. That's my opinion. He should have somebody.
And then on top of that, I could see the Ravens.
He doesn't want to cut the middleman out, but
I could see the Ravens trying to not give him the money.
And that's my perspective too. But I don't, and I'm trying to understand it.
If
from what I could tell, that's what it looks like. So
if you got a few hundred mil, if you got a few $100 million on the table, what are you waiting for?
I agree. Yeah, right. Yeah.
What are we waiting for?
What are we waiting for? To get hurt? For him to get hurt and then not pay him? Low key, how the Cowboys did Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
jump on, jump off.
But in case of Dak Prescott, it still worked out in his favor.
Well, it still worked out, but at the time they were playing around with the money. Then he got hurt, but then the Cowboys, full circle, the Cowboys. But
Cowboys betted on themselves and lost to a certain extent. Cowboys, you know what I'm saying, ended up giving him, I ain't gonna say more than what he's worth, because at the end of the day, the Cowboys' success obviously is predicated on Dak Prescott. But in this case, if Lamar goes and balls out this year,
they have to.
They got to give him the bag. They're gonna have to pay him,
especially more than anybody. Wins the division and especially outplays players like Kyler Murray.
But at the same time, I feel like I'm almost happy Lamar doesn't have a contract yet, and I'm hoping that he does play through the season, because I feel like once they give him the money, it's going to be almost impossible, not impossible, but more unlikely that the Ravens can make it to another Super Bowl.
To build around him.
Correct.
If you were playing Madden and you're building the Ravens and you're making transactions and this and that, what do you fix or what do you go for? If receivers, like
if I'm fixing the Ravens,
if you're fixing your GMO on Madden and you looking to build a contending, like we're going to the motherfucking Super Bowl.
Well, okay.
What do they have to do?
So Ravens have the best secondary in the league. They're gonna have I can, you know what I'm saying, or right hand, you know what I'm saying, right hand high. Ravens are going to have the best secondary in the league. I strongly believe that. Marlon Humphrey, Kyle Hamilton, Jimmy Smith, and Juice Man. Essentially
the
So if it's anything I'm gonna work on the Ravens, and it's the only thing that kind of keeps coming up in the conversation, is wide receiver.
Wide receiver. That's why I was like wide receiver, right? Who? Right.
We don't have anybody who's sure-handed on our team, and like I said, we let Marquise Brown go. He wanted to get traded. You know what I'm saying?
Was he? I mean, at the end of the day, he got traded.
He dropped.
Phil. He did. Oh yeah, that's right.
He dropped about 5 touchdowns
throughout the season.
Throughout that season, right? He had 2 in one game, and I'm not saying that he's a bad player because to a certain extent he's a good player, but his skill set doesn't really match up with what will, you know what I'm saying, keep the Ravens winning. You know what I'm saying? We need to move the chains a lot of times. We're running the ball a lot. We need sometimes we need those third down completions, you know,
right?
Like Anquan Bolden-esque.
Good route runner.
You know what I'm saying? Good route runners.
So you just trade for, shit. You see them maybe shit. The next offseason they trade him for somebody, drafting receivers. What is it?
I feel like we need to trade, but it's just we haven't been able to have any receivers come in and really, you know, step in that role since Anquan Bolden. You know,
I have right here.
I feel like any team, they need 2 good receivers, and it doesn't necessarily matter if they're at the wide receiver position. It could be tight end receiver, but you just need 2 pass catchers on the team. So we got Mark Andrews.
No, that's top tier. Yeah, that's
and then
top
we
tier
just
tight
need
end.
we
tight
need
end,
somebody
the tight
else.
end, a good. You're right. A good tight end is the quarterback's best friend.
Yes,
you know, like
safety blanket.
There you go.
Safety blanket.
Within short 5-10 round, the big target, and that's right. That is prototype A1 tight end on the roster. Mark Andrews, like I said, along with Kelsey off the Chiefs, along Kittle on the 49ers, along with Pitts off the Falcons, and then Waller off the Ravens.
Right.
No particular order. Top 5 tight ends in the NFL, and then there's a big drop off after that.
Huge drop off
after that. Like
So
with a good tight end, it shields that. Again, he's get what, damn near half the targets, right? We're running the ball. He's getting like half the targets. So yeah, that's why Hollywood Brown wants to.
He's short-handed, like I'm kind of saying. He's gonna make tough catches, but we just need somebody to do that at the receiver on the outside.
So is Lamar does he lack accuracy, or is it's just they're running 70% of the game?
It's both. Okay. Now, some of these throws, I love Lamar to death, but some of these throws
are questionable.
He
pushed the wrong button.
He pushed the wrong button, bro.
He pushed the wrong button on the sticks.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? He pressing X to go to triangle sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
But then at the same time, I feel like most of the time it's more so those deep balls where he's inaccurate. Those deep passes can get kind of inaccurate. I feel like his intermediate game is pretty strong. His intermediate throws are kind of pretty strong. Yeah. But the downfield throws are they need a little work. But like I said, that's why I was more so saying like Hollywood doesn't really match up with what they do well. Right.
They need bigger guys, runners, strong. Not so much the fast guys, because the fast, you could be the fastest player in the NFL, but that is far from being the best receiver in the NFL.
I never thought that we should have drafted Hollywood Brown. I always felt like we should have drafted DK Metcalf.
I was just thinking of him. I was like, that's I
When
was
we
just I was
in
about
that
to-
draft, that was the same draft. DK Metcalf was there. When
the
we picked,
biggest he's the biggest
picked-
wide receiver.
I want to
the
say we
biggest,
picked
strongest-
26.
No homo. He's the biggest, strongest wide receiver on the Seahawks. Metcalf. Yeah.
Yes.
I was just thinking him. I was like, that'd be perfect for the Ravens.
Yes, Metcalf was in that draft, and I want to say
They
AJ
should try and
Brown.
go get him. I mean, he's got to be available.
Yeah,
on
he
the
no.
Seahawks.
I
Losing
mean,
Russell Wilson.
he's. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Seahawks would want some great trade value, but at the same time, I'm pretty sure the Ravens got it.
fuck them picks.
No, but the
Fuck
Ravens are
them
usually
picks.
the Ravens. I want to say the Ravens had more picks than anybody this year.
No, I mean, you're right.
I wanna say-
sometimes you need. To
I
trade
want to
some picks
say
get
in
them.
the third and fourth round, we had 6 picks.
That's. I mean, the draft is an intricate part of building a roster.
But yeah, I'm thinking Lamar comes out this season, balls out, and if we don't win the Super Bowl, I will be kind of skeptical. Like, damn, we're gonna give him the money, but I know that it's gonna be like
Someone say if you're giving a guy, I mean, more so in basketball, like I've heard this, but it's just like you paying a guy X amount. In the NBA, they'll say like you give a guy $100 million, whatever. Like, is he a part of the equation to get the whole shit done?
I'm just looking at all the other quarterbacks. A lot of them who have won Super Bowls did it before they got paid.
Damn, what? Then it's
Mahomes.
a lifetime achievement award. Like
Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Brady. It's only a couple that won Super Bowls after they got paid.
well, now you're you won a Super Bowl. Now you're on TV all the time. Now your
Right.
jerseys are everywhere. You're in all
Right.
the commercials. So part of it is
Part of it is what?
I mean, all of it is making money, but it's just like, but again, if you're a household name and you're this and that, you got to pay this guy because everyone's going to line up to pay him.
But check this out too, though. You look at somebody like Tom Brady. Tom Brady is never the highest paid quarterback in the league, and he is considered the GOAT.